In war, there is no prize for the runner-up. Winston Churchill believed this with absolute certainty. Because war does not reward effort, it does not reward ambition, and it does not reward excuses. It rewards results. October 1944. Behind closed doors, inside a quiet map room in London, Churchill was about to confront a comparison so brutal, so unforgiving, that it nearly shattered the Allied command structure at the very moment they were winning the war. On one side of the map, a British general who had been given everything: absolute supply priority, unlimited fuel, elite airborne troops, total air superiority. On the other side, an American general who had been given half as much, and yet was advancing faster, killing more enemy soldiers and capturing entire cities. One number made Churchill freeze mid-sip of his tea. 10,000 casualties for a bridge that was never taken. And when he looked just a few inches south on the map, he saw something even more disturbing. George S. Patton, with half the fuel, had captured 12 German cities. At that moment, Churchill understood something was terribly wrong, and what he said next would change Allied strategy for the rest of the war. General Hastings Ismay, Churchill's chief of staff, enters quietly and joins him at the table. The Prime Minister is leaning over a massive map of Western Europe. The Netherlands is covered in red pins, Eastern France marked in blue. For 8 days, Operation Martin Garden has been underway. Field Marshal Montgomery's plan was bold, almost audacious. Seize a chain of bridges, cross the Rhine at Arnhem, drive straight into Germany. Montgomery promised it would end the war by Christmas. Then the aide enters, young, pale, carrying a folder stamped "Urgent." Churchill takes it without a word, opens it. His expression changes. The teacup stops halfway to his lips. He sets it down slowly. "How many?" he asks quietly. The aide swallows. "Approximately 10,000 casualties, sir. The British 1st Airborne Division at Arnhem has been nearly destroyed. The bridge could not be held. They've been evacuated. What remains of them?" Silence. 10,000 men, 9 days, for nothing. Churchill stares at the report. An operation designed to end the war has just become one of the bloodiest Allied failures since D-Day. He looks up. Where is General Patton right now? Ismay steps to the map and points. "Here, sir. Patton's Third Army captured Nancy 4 days ago. They're advancing through eastern France toward the German border." Churchill studies the map. Montgomery to the north, Patton nearly 200 miles south. He places the Martin Garden folder down as if it weighs a ton. "Bring me the fuel allocation reports," Churchill says. "Montgomery's and Patton's. I want to see exactly what we gave them." What Churchill is about to discover will ignite a political firestorm. The reports arrive within 20 minutes. Churchill spreads them across the table. Ismay reads over his shoulder. The figures are stark, undeniable. Operation Martin Garden, September 17th to 25th. 9 days. Montgomery's 21st Army Group received absolute priority. 1,400 tons of fuel per day. Every truck, every gallon, every available resource sent north. The objective? Capture bridges across the Netherlands, cross the Rhine at Arnhem, drive into Germany's industrial heartland. The result? The British 1st Airborne Division dropped at Arnhem on September 17th. They were ordered to hold the bridge for 2 days. They held for 9. German resistance was far stronger than intelligence predicted. 2 veteran SS Panzer divisions were refitting nearby. Surrounded, outnumbered, running out of ammunition and medical supplies, on September 25th, the survivors were evacuated under cover of darkness. Out of 10,000 men, only 2,000 returned. Total casualties, over 10,000. Strategic objectives achieved, 0. The Arnhem Bridge remained in German hands. Churchill turns to the next report. 3rd Army Operations, September 17th to 25th, 1944. Fuel allocation, 700 tons per day, exactly half of Montgomery's. No priority, no special treatment. In fact, Patton had been complaining for weeks that his army was being deliberately starved of fuel. Results? In those same 9 days, Patton's 3rd Army captured 12 fortified cities: Nancy, Luneville, Château-Salins, Pont-à-Mousson. They crossed 3 rivers, the Moselle, the Meurthe, the Mortagne. They advanced 60 miles. They captured 45,000 German prisoners, inflicted an estimated 55,000 casualties. 3rd Army casualties, approximately 2,100. Churchill reads the numbers again, then again. He removes his glasses, rubs his eyes, puts them back on. "Ismay," he says quietly, "tell me if I'm reading this correctly." Ismay hesitates. "Sir, I verified the figures with 3 separate sources." Churchill nods slowly. "So Montgomery received everything and delivered disaster. Patton received half and delivered victory." Churchill walks to the map and traces the supply routes with his finger. "Get me General Eisenhower immediately." 10 a.m. Supreme Headquarters Allied Expeditionary Force, Versailles, France. Ike is in a staff meeting when his aide interrupts. The Prime Minister is on the line. Ike knows instantly this won't be pleasant. "Good morning, Winston." Churchill's voice is clipped, formal. "I need you to explain something to me, and I assure you I will need to explain this to Parliament within 48 hours. Of course, Prime Minister. Why did we authorize an operation that consumed our entire logistical capacity and delivered us the single bloodiest week since D-Day? Eisenhower speaks of calculated risks, of intelligence failures, of bold opportunities. Churchill cuts him off. "I know what the plan was, Ike. What I want to understand is why General Patton is capturing German cities with half the fuel, while Montgomery is losing men with all of it." Silence. "Publicly criticizing Montgomery now could fracture Allied unity," Eisenhower finally says. "Unity didn't save those paratroopers at Arnhem," Churchill replies. "And unity doesn't win wars. Results do." Within 24 hours, the British press explodes. Arnhem, 10,000 casualties for a failed crossing. Letters flood Churchill's office. Mothers, wives, sisters. Why did my son die? Why were warnings ignored? Why are Americans advancing while British troops are buried? Montgomery demands a private meeting. It lasts 3 hours. He blames the weather, unexpected German resistance, intelligence failures, and then he asks for more resources. When Montgomery leaves, Eisenhower's chief of staff shakes his head. He lost 10,000 with absolute priority, and he wants more. October 2nd, 1944.
Churchill arrives in the Netherlands. The evidence of failure is everywhere. Destroyed gliders, burned-out vehicles, graves marked by helmets and rifles. Montgomery meets him, immaculate as always. The intelligence failure was significant, Prime Minister. You were warned, Churchill replies quietly. They stop at Nijmegen Bridge, the furthest point Market Garden reached. This is where we held, Montgomery says. The airborne held for 9 days, Churchill replies. The failure wasn't theirs. Later, Churchill visits Patton's sector, Nancy. The city is intact. Civilians are returning. Engineers are repairing roads. Patton tells him, "Casualties acceptable, Prime Minister. We keep moving and they can't hurt us." Churchill understands. Back at headquarters, Churchill is direct. "We gave Montgomery everything, and he gave us excuses. We gave Patton half, and he gave us victory." Montgomery is not fired. Politically, that would be impossible. But his influence is shattered. The single-thrust strategy is abandoned. Patton receives more fuel. The balance of power shifts. December 1944, the Battle of the Bulge. Montgomery requests 3 weeks to prepare. Patton says 48 hours, and he does it. Churchill later writes, "Patton moves like lightning. Montgomery plans like a lawyer." The lesson becomes immortal. Resources do not win wars. Leadership does. Montgomery had everything. Patton had speed. And Churchill never forgot the difference.